Have you ever had someone linger in your mind, long after they've left your life? You're not talking to them, they don't message you, yet they keep appearing, randomly, unexpectedly. A song, a place, a scent. And there they are again. It's frustrating, it's consuming, and it can feel like you're going crazy, but you're not. Carl Jung would tell you, this isn't a coincidence. It's not just missing someone. It's not just love or nostalgia. There's something deeper happening. Someone is living in your head because a part of you hasn't been brought to light. You're not obsessed with them. You're haunted by a forgotten version of yourself. This is the psychology of emotional attachment, projection, and the shadow. This is why you can't stop thinking about them. And once you understand what Jung discovered, you might finally be free. Carl Jung, the Swiss psychiatrist and pioneer of depth psychology, believed that we are often ruled by forces we cannot see. The unconscious mind isn't just a dark basement. It's a vast universe filled with memories, wounds, fears, and parts of ourselves we've rejected or never fully understood. When someone enters your life and leaves a lasting impression, especially if they touch something raw inside you, they can become entangled with your unconscious. You don't just remember them. You become attached to what they represented in your inner world. You're not thinking about them. You're thinking about who you were around them, what they awakened in you, what part of you was alive. For the first time in years, Jung would say this person has activated something in your psyche, and now that energy is looping, demanding to be seen. Let's talk about Jung's concept of the shadow. The shadow is the hidden part of your personality, the traits, desires, and truths you've buried because they didn't fit your image, upbringing, or cultural expectations. It contains your repressed anger, shame, sexual desire, jealousy, power fantasies, everything you were told not to feel. Now here's the twist. When you meet someone who represents a piece of your shadow, you often don't recognize it as yourself. You project it onto them. Let's say you've always suppressed your boldness. Then you meet someone charismatic and fearless. Suddenly you're drawn to them with a magnetic intensity. You admire them, obsess over them, can't stop thinking about them. But it's not really them you're obsessed with. It's the part of you that they mirror, the boldness you've buried inside yourself. This is projection. It's your unconscious way of trying to reconnect with a disowned part of your soul. And until you reclaim that part, until you integrate it, your mind will keep looping. You're not obsessed with a person. You're obsessed with your unfinished psychological work. Jung also described something called a complex. Think of it like an emotional landmine buried in your psyche, formed by childhood wounds, unmet needs, and unresolved traumas. When someone triggers that complex, intentionally or not, it sets off a storm inside you. For example, maybe your childhood was marked by emotional abandonment. Now you meet someone who gives you just enough affection to make you feel seen, but pulls away often, reinforcing your wound. That person doesn't just affect you, they activate you. You're not just attracted to them, you're trying to solve a puzzle that began years before they ever showed up. Your mind keeps returning to them because your inner child believes, if I can just get this person to love me, I'll finally feel enough. That's the power of a complex. You're not remembering them. You're reliving you, your past pain, dressed in modern clothes. Now we enter one of Jung's deepest insights, the anima and animus. According to Jung, every man carries within him an inner feminine, called the anima, and every woman carries an inner masculine, the animus. These are soul images, emotional blueprints of the ideal other. When you meet someone who reflects your inner anima or animus, it can feel like fate, chemistry, soulmate energy. But often it's not love, it's projection. You're not seeing them as they are, you're seeing them as your psyche wants them to be. They're a screen, and your unconscious is playing a movie onto it. This is why infatuation is so overwhelming. The other person becomes the embodiment of every unspoken desire, hope, fear, and longing inside you. You can't stop thinking about them because your soul believes they hold something essential, the key to your wholeness. But the truth, they're not your missing piece. They're the mirror, showing you what's missing in you. Sometimes it goes beyond memory or desire. You keep seeing their name. Their birthday shows up on receipts. You hear a song that reminds you of them, again and again. And you start to think, is this the universe trying to tell me something? Jung called these moments synchronicities, meaningful coincidences that reflect the inner world through outer events. But not every repetition is synchronicity. Sometimes it's obsession in disguise. Here's the difference. If you feel peace, clarity, and expansion when thinking of someone, that may be synchronicity guiding you. But if you feel anxiety, confusion, longing, or emotional chaos, it's your psyche looping through unresolved tension. Not fate, not destiny, just trauma searching. For resolution, Jung would urge you to ask not, why them? But rather, what part of me are they holding hostage? So how do you stop thinking about someone who won't leave your mind? Jung wouldn't tell you to suppress it, or distract yourself, or move on. He'd tell you to integrate what that person represents. Ask yourself, what traits did I admire or hate in them? What part of me do they reflect? What wound did they activate? You heal not by forgetting them, but by learning from the emotional storm they triggered. The mind holds onto people who represent unfinished business. When you bring the shadow into the light, the mind lets go because it has received the message it was trying to deliver all along. You don't need closure from them. You need closure with the part of yourself that clung to them. They were never meant to complete you. They were meant to wake you up, Jung said. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. You thought it was fate, love, destiny. But it was you, chasing the version of yourself that you buried. So stop asking why they're on your mind. Start asking what part of you wants to come home. When you do that, they won't disappear because you forget them. They'll disappear because you finally remembered yourself. Someone living in your head rent-free is not a sign of weakness. It's a signal, a symbol, a psychic whisper. They are a teacher in disguise. The lesson is not about them. It's about the parts of yourself you've ignored, abandoned, or feared. Once you face them, no one will ever control your mind again.